This video has been requested by a viewer to show removing this radiator framework off of this 2004 Volvo XC90. Now, in order to do any kind of work on the radiator hoses or anything like that, this framework's got to come up out of the way. So today's video is going to be pieced together from other video clips that I've done in different repairs that involve this framework. So I hope this video today will be helpful to you. Okay, if you got to do any work on your radiator hoses, back under this thing. So this piece here needs to come back out of the way. First thing I've done is disconnect the battery. First and foremost, headlight release. We have a tab here. We have a tab here. If you'll notice, I don't know if you can see down in there very well or not. There's a little. See if I can get good. There it is. You can see the where it comes in right there. You just pull those out. You'll notice these are different widths. For different widths and different lengths. So the short, narrow one goes on the inside. The wider one goes outside with the tip pointed toward the front. Slide it down and to go right in those slots. You got it. Same way over here. I don't know if I can see that one or not. Yeah, there it is. Like that. Take your headlights out. You got a lever here. You pull up on. These are two different sizes, by the way, two different widths, two different lengths. Short one here, or the short one here and long one over here. And this headlight will actually just slide right out. Then you've got a connector right there. You pull up on that little red piece. Sometimes you have to kind of work with it to get it up, and then this unplugs and your headlight will come out of the way. These little sensors here are collision sensors. I unplug them back here. There's a plug back here behind this where they unplug, because this framework will have to unbolt and sit back out of the way to get to your radiator hoses and turbo hoses and things. I've taken the front bumper cover off. You got your fog light wires that you got unplugged. Just down on that little metal thing and just pull it out. Then you can take a screwdriver down around the edge of this and just pry out on it, pop it loose. There's a little thing down here on this that holds that thing on too. And you got a bolt here, and a bolt here,
here that hold that thing on. 12mm bolts, I take those and put them back in so I don't lose them. Pop it loose on this side. Then you've got your washer hose that's got to be disconnected. Push in and press in on those two little things and pull it out. I usually prop it up here out of the way because if you let it drop, the fluid, if you got any fluid in there, it'll run out. So you get that thing out of the way. Bolts hold it on to there. Here. There. I'd mentioned your collision sensors. I usually unplug them right here at this connector. So there's a little thing right there. You press down on that. You can't see that. That's how it comes unplugged. This piece here needs to come back out of the way. So you've got a bolt there. You've got a bolt there. You've got a bolt under here. And then you've got a bolt right here. That one's going right. I took that one out, but and so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you've got these bolts that come out of here, and this helps stop. These bolts help stabilize the top of the radiator. There's a little slot that in the radiator bracket, or yeah, radiator bracket. There's a little slot, a little pin that goes in there like a little pin and stabilizes it. Then the other thing you've got, the only thing you've got left is your. Well, if you have to take it all the way off, you want to. You've got these collision sensors here that unplug, but I don't take it all the way off because you've got your hood release cable that comes in, and there's no easy way to get loose without taking these latches off. So I just leave them on. So you can kind of lift it up and pull it back out of the way to work on your radiator.
Now, if you decide to take this framework off, there's a few more things you need to do. One is on the right-hand side, you have to disconnect your horn wiring because the horn is bolted to the right side of that framework. Then on the left-hand side, you've got your vacuum pump that is bolted to that framework, and it would need to be unplugged and disconnected from the vacuum or removed altogether. So then at that point, you would have to take your hood latches loose to be able to lift that framework off. Now, if you decide to leave the framework in place, be aware that if you have to lay across it with your weight or whatever, that some of that framework is pretty easy to bend. So it's important that you not bend that framework, because if you bend it and you try to put it back together, a couple things can go wrong. Number one is your hood latches won't line up properly, and the other thing is your headlights won't fit back in their sockets properly. And those little brackets on those headlights, if you break those, you're talking several $100s, because you can't fix them. You just have to buy your own new assembly, and you don't want to do that if you don't have to. So you have to make sure that framework doesn't get bent and out of position. So now if you're working on the radiator and you pull that framework back out of the way, you need to be aware not to bend it. Now, the radiators in these cars are kind of a pain because your radiator and your turbo intercooler and your air conditioned condenser are all bolted together with 4 bolts. And then there are 2 bolts that come up from the bottom that hold that whole assembly up from the bottom and screw into the framework on either side of the radiator. And then on top of that, you've got your transmission cooler and your power steering cooler that bolt onto the bottom of that thing. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. So when you put that framework back on, just make sure that it's in position properly and lined up. Everything's lined up properly before you start bolting it back in. And once you get it bolted in, then you have to put your you want, if you take your hood latches off, then you need to put those back on before you put it back in. But you don't want to tighten the bolts up. You just want to put them back in loosely. And then when you get the framework back in there, then leave your headlights out, close your hood latch, and make sure that both latches actually latch. Then you tighten up the bolts on those hood latches, and that's got it lined up properly. Then you can open your hood back up and put your headlights back in. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.